All right. Well, great morning to everybody. As always, before we start the call, I want to thank you guys for showing up for yourself, showing up to invest time to get your mindset reps in, to get you, to do the work on yourself, right? And most importantly, connect with your brothers and sisters within this community. Feel free to, remember some of these squares are just a reminder. You know what? Haven't met that person. Let me ping them. Let's get a call set up. Let's get a lunch, whatever it is. But I appreciate you guys making that commitment to yourself, making that commitment to consistency, doing what you say you're going to do, because that's a powerful thing right there. And man, just one other note, guys. If you haven't seen, you guys are all on the email list. I started getting back to sending just emails to give you guys the reminders of what we're doing to keep the communication going more effective. But next, just have blocked out next Tuesday night, we're having our Harvest Live. I got another incredible guest speaker coming in. Justin Deal referred somebody who's an author. He's going to be a good guest speaker for that. But most importantly, I want you guys getting together as a community, right? We want to provide the best of both worlds, virtual community and in person. So, there's really nothing that we're not missing here, but, I just challenge you guys to have it in your calendars, make it a point and a priority to show up so you guys can build the incredible relationships that are possible within this community. So that's next Tuesday night, 6 o'clock. So just please have that saved in your calendar, and it's open invite. You find like-minded individuals, get them in the community, and create more abundance for everybody in here. So, all right, let's get started, because I'm very, very, very excited about this one. And like I said when I started this call, to me, I feel this is probably one of the most important calls that I can bring to you guys. And it just comes down to the fact that I put in my post and in the email. Man, there's just some things in your life, and some of you may have been through these, that, your coach, your boss, your significant other, your mentor, or whoever, man, it's just, they're not going to be able to get you through that season. It's just that whether it's a loss in the family or a loved one or something, a catastrophe in business, and I know we've all been through that, and you just feel like, man, there's nothing that can help me through this right now. And my job and my goal is to always help you guys, get right back into high frequency, no matter what happens, so you can consistently perform at your highest levels, no matter what the external can bring your way, no matter what life can bring your way. Because the reality is, life will consistently happen no matter what your goals are, no matter what your agenda is, no matter what your calendar says, no matter what your dream board says, right? There will always be things thrown your way, and my goal is to arm us all as a community with things that can bounce us right back and march through tough times, so we can continue to be strong and continue to move forward, continue to be leaders, continue to be the example, and continue to achieve our goals and dreams and help others, most importantly. And for me, one of these things to have in place is, you got to level up your spiritual strength, right? I call it vertical solutions for horizontal problems, right? And for me, there's been times in my life and even goals that I have, and man, the reason why I'm confident marching forward when sometimes, there isn't no signs of it, or you name it, man, where I go is to my spiritual side, my faith, my belief in a God that's going to help me get through these things, right? And, to me, this is going to be an incredible call. And, man, I'm just excited for you guys. And maybe you haven't been down that spiritual journey yet. All I ask for you is just open up your lid, right? And just be open to something that can truly power you more than you've ever been powered in your life. And, I had the opportunity to meet our next guest speaker, Pastor Brian Hall. He's a spiritual coach. He's got an incredible story, which he's going to go into. And I always like to give you guys relevant points too, because, when it comes to all right, why did I bring him in? All right, well, who even is tapped into spiritual coaching? Because a lot of people never even heard about it. Well, Pastor Brian Hall, in his journey, we're going to go into, some of the most elite athletes in the world, elite, entertainers, musicians, entrepreneurs, you name it, right? And it's just crazy to hear some of the names that he's worked with. They work with him for spiritual coaching. And there's a reason why, because there's something much more than just your typical business coach, right? There's something more out there that even the most elite achievers in the world, whether it's business, whether it's sports, whether it's entertainment, you name it, or just regular people, they understand that there is something more powerful than what's down here, man. So I'm very excited to have, my spiritual coach, my mentor, an incredible person that God's blessed me in my life, Pastor Brian Hall, come in here and get our spiritual reps strong. And Pastor Brian, thank you so much for hopping on in here, my brother. It is great to have you as always.
Super excited to be here with my Harvest family. Looking forward to, just giving a word today. I think with my story, um, I was a pastor for 23 years, started churches, went up through the ranks of the church, just like any of you guys did through business. I went up through the ranks of the church from the middle school to the high school to the college to the associate to the executive to the lead pastor to planting churches to starting one of the biggest nonprofits in Greater Cincinnati, to having a God dream 8 years ago and him telling me that he wanted me to walk away from all of it. Now, that's a pretty big step in faith when you have a wife and 4 kids. And by the way, Devin, I haven't told anybody. I got the fifth one on the way, so I don't know what the crap I was thinking, but here we go. So,
Congratulations.
so 5 babies, but so yeah, man. The dream that God gave me was that I was gonna, go and be a pastor and a spiritual coach to celebrities, influencers, entrepreneurs, and CEOs. And I didn't understand what it looked like because, I'm a guy from Kentucky, born and raised in Kentucky on a farm. I didn't know anybody. I didn't have, any influence or brand. My best friends were cows, horses, pigs, and goats. And so it was definitely a God thing. It was a divine thing. And just like a lot of you can think, if you really look at your life, you're like, I don't know how the crap I got here, but it had to be divine. And so, it was divine. And now 8 years later, I get to travel the globe and speak into the lives of some of the most powerful people on the planet. And it's because these people come to me. They have all the money in the world, all the fame, all the influence. They can go anywhere, but they still have this void in their life, and they don't understand what that void is. And so I come into the picture, and I bring the spiritual side to everything, and this is the void gets filled, and their lives start becoming transformed.
Could you, real quick, could you share, like the journey of like when you told me, this is what God took me through to really show me, like no, this is where I want you to go, and you tried to fight it, right? You tried to go against what you thought was your plan. Can you go, because it was a pretty wild story, and I was like, man, that was incredible to hear, because you were like, hey, I tried to disagree with it, right? I tried to go my own path, and then all this stuff
Yeah.
started happening to where I had to like, no, this is definitely what he wants me to do. Could you share that?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's kind of a just like all of us, we have these valley moments and these mountain moments and the ups and downs of life. And, for me, it actually started 23 years ago. I was a drug addict, an alcoholic, a sex addict. I lost everything in bankruptcy. Had mouth cancer, OD'd on drugs, had a heart attack. I was completely rock bottom. I was laying in my family's open field, literally getting ready to take my life. And I just remember, saying, because you don't realize that God is all you got until God is all you have. And so I was at that place in my life where that was all I had. And I just prayed out, I didn't know how to do it. I just said, God, if you're real, like I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And it was about 3 weeks later that I met my amazing wife that had just graduated seminary degree with a seminary. And it just radically transformed my life. And so it was that bold prayer, and then my life started looking up. I was at this valley and met my wife and started going up onto the mountaintop again. And what Devin, what you're talking about is so when God told me to walk away from all of it, you have to realize that in the ministry world, just like you guys would say in the business world, I was at the top of my game. I mean, I had a 10,000 member plus church. I had a nonprofit that was serving 25,000 people on a daily basis. We were working 24/7 with outreach to drug addicts and human trafficking victims. And, we had over 1,700 active volunteers. We had just a full blown ministry. And I was traveling the globe teaching people how to do what we were doing. And so I had the house, I had the cars, I had the family, I had the life that we would think is this huge success. It was the blood, sweat, and tears. And then God's like, you're gonna walk away from all that. I'm like, that can't be God. That's got to be the devil. There's no way that he would want me to walk away from this. And so what Devin's talking about is I ran from it and I was like, this can't be God. And 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 so I found that you can't run far enough and you can't run fast enough when God has called you to do something. When he's literally, because I would be being in ministry for 23 years, I can honestly say that probably 90% of the planet is not happy. They're literally not living in their purpose. They're not living in what God has called them to be. And so they literally get up every morning to go to a job they hate, to come home to pay bills they don't want to pay, and then to wake up every morning and do the same thing again. And so that's why the number one best-selling book of all time is the Bible. But guess what? Number two is The Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren. Because people want to know, number one, what happens after life and death, death, life and death. What's that? And then number two is why the crap am I here? And so it's purpose. And so for me, I run away from God. I say, no, I'm not running from this. I built this thing, which was my first problem because I didn't build anything. He built it. And I was preaching at a on Thanksgiving in the ghetto of Lower Price Hill in Cincinnati. It's the worst place in Cincinnati. And I was preaching on Thanksgiving in the evening to about 700 people. And you know, after I got done preaching, we normally hand out turkeys and all that, but I was I had my security sneak me out the back, and I was going to get in my car to spend some time with my family on Thanksgiving. And so when I got in my car, this SUV pulls up. I hadn't started my car yet, but this SUV pulls up, and this gentleman jumps out, and he's probably 10 feet looking straight at me in my car, and he pulls a gun out and he just unloads his whole clip. And it was just like slow motion, like a movie. And he gets back into his car, he pulls out, and then I get out of my car, and I, obviously I'm not hit. This is, by the way, criminals, you guys know this, man, they just suck. They cannot shoot at all. I mean, literally, he was doing like the side shotgun, the thing, and not one bullet hit me, not one bullet hit my car, but I find out when I walk around my car, he was trying to kill the guy underneath, underneath my car. And so some would say, well, that just happened. Well, for me, I was like, God, is this a sign? Are you showing me something here? You didn't hurt me. I didn't get hurt, but is this a sign that you're like, Brian, I'm telling you, it's time to move on. Well, I did what every one of you guys would do, and ladies, I didn't listen. And so this is when I found out that God's plan A is humility, God's plan B is humiliation. Okay? God's plan A is humility, God's plan B is humiliation. And so at this point in my life, he was like, "All right, you don't want to leave? You don't want to do what I'm calling you to do? Okay." And so I didn't listen. And so me and my wife, we love fitness. We love, just working out, taking care of ourselves. And at the time, we did CrossFit. My wife would laugh at me right now saying that I did CrossFit because she did CrossFit and I just went in and did bro sessions. But so I went in and we were doing deadlifts one day and we come home and I tell my wife and I'm like, this is like 3 months later after the shooting. And I come home and I'm like, babe, I have this horrible pain in my lower back. And I don't know what's going on. I just feel different. And she's, you did deadlifts, just like, my all wives. You gotta love our wives. She's like, suck it up. You'll be fine when you wake up in the morning. You're gonna be okay. And so I wake up at 4 in the morning in excruciating pain and I get rushed to the hospital and I'm going to be very vulnerable and this is going to be really disgusting. I hope you're not eating breakfast this morning because this would suck. But anyway, so um, the doctor comes in and he says, Brian, um, you are going to be in so much pain because of what is going on here. You have an abscess the size of a softball inside of your rectum. And I'm like, talk about plan A, humility, plan B, humiliation. I am the face of my organization. He goes on to say this will be the worst pain that you'll ever have. The surgery is going to be crazy painful, and then you are going to be bedridden for 3 months. I can't be bedridden. I can't be bedridden for one day the way I have my organization. I'm gonna be bedridden for 3 months. And it's not like I can just do calls and stuff like that. I have to be seen with this ministry. And so surgery was horrible. I lay in bed for 3 months, and it was horrible. I was so mad at God. I cursed at God. I cried to God. And then after the 3 months, after watching every Netflix and Prime that you could possibly watch and show and series, I finally was in that lane in the field moment again. And I just said, God, I'll do whatever you want me to do. I'll go wherever you want me to go. I'll walk away from all of it. And I was humiliated. Um, and so that's at that moment when I finally got up out of my healing and got up out of the bed, which was just horrible. That's when I stepped in faith, and I went to two Cincinnati Bengals, three Cincinnati Reds. These were the only people that I knew because they were serving at the Dream Center. And I went to them and I said, "This is the dream that God gave me." And they said, "Brian, that's amazing. We want to connect you with some people." And so I've never had to run ads. I've never had to do the funnel stuff. I literally have just started it with the roundtable and the group stuff that I'm doing now. But it was just all word of mouth. And so today, 8 years later, I coached over 1,000 of the biggest names in the world. Um, um, I baptized the Musk family. They're my clients. From actors to artists. I have got the honor and the pleasure to just be able to speak life into them. And I found that, guys, that you know the Bible says body, mind, and spirit. And so we're really good at, hey, let's go, and I love this stuff too. We're good at going to conferences and masterminds and trainings and learning about the body. Hey, do your breath work. Hey, do your cold plunges. I do it. Trust me, I love it. And then they'll say, the mindset. We got to get your mind right. We gotta speak it, and we got to get our mind. But what we always miss is the spiritual, and that's the full alignment. And so it's to me, it's like a chiropractor. A chiropractor, I have a chiropractor on my payroll. He comes to my house. I absolutely love it. I believe in them. And so, a chiropractor will he adjusts you just right to get you in full alignment so you function at 100%. Well, spiritually, what I do is I get you in alignment so you can function at 100%. And so when we get these things in alignment, this is when we start seeing God move radically in our life. And so, you know, the Bible says that, it's God first, family second, everything else third. And so whenever those are out of alignment, you're not functioning at 100%. You're not flowing like you should be. And so what I do is I'll have clients to me and I'll figure out what their alignment is. And when I see that they're out of alignment, we get them back in alignment. We start making God the CEO of our life, and we become the president. Could you imagine that? And I just want to throw this out here. Could you imagine that if you literally surrendered your whole being, your whole life to God, and you became the president and you filtered everything through the CEO? Life changes, life transforms. Like, that's the thing, is people don't understand that is actually you can talk to the Father, you can talk to God. And people are like, well, that's just, I've never been able to do it. I've never been able to feel it. I've never been able to sense it. Well, guess what? You can do it. And there's an intimacy in a relationship that you can have with him that, like, I run everything through him, everything, because I don't want to fail. I don't want to go through the garbage. I don't want to go through the pain if I don't have to go through it. I don't want to be in the valleys all the time. And I think a lot of us, we live in the process our whole life of struggle, and because we are making the decisions. Well, guess what? If the creator of the world can make the decisions for us, it never goes wrong. And so what I try to do is I just try to get people in alignment and people in tune with the Father, and we start seeing transformation happen. We start seeing breakthrough happen. I mean, from the smallest to the biggest things. It's like, God, you know, should I hire this person? Should I fire this person? Should I buy equity in this company? Should I take this trip? Should I, on and on and on? I mean, I run everything through him because I want it to be right. And I think honestly, you guys want it to be right. And so, we focus so much on our body and we focus so much on our mind, and you should, but shouldn't we focus the most on our soul? Shouldn't we focus the most on spirit? And so that's where I'm at. And so God is good, man, and He has changed my life. And so now I get to travel the globe and speak into the lives of these people and their families, and I wouldn't change it for anything. Is it hard? Absolutely. Is it crazy sometimes? I would say a lot of people ask me who are the hardest clients to work with, and I would say the billionaires are awesome. I think they're the easiest to work with. I would say the hardest people that I have to work with is probably the housewives of Beverly Hills, or the housewives of Atlanta, or the housewives of New Jersey and all that. And they're probably the hardest because they're just so much full of drama. But it's one of those things where you just for an example of kind of the things that I have to deal with. It's like, I had a guy, huge name, call me 2 weeks ago, and it was 3 a.m. in the morning, 3 a.m. in the morning. And so I'm always alert because I get called at all times of the night. This is 24/7. He calls me at 3 in the morning, and he's like, and I had just got home from travel, and he said, Brian, I mean, he was just wasted, snorted all this cocaine, and he's like, I'm done with this life. I'm done. I'm gonna commit suicide. It's over for me. And I said, bro, I just need you to hold on. Give me a few hours. I'm coming to you. And so I wake up my wife and I said, baby, I gotta get to Nashville. I gotta get to Nashville. So I'm gonna head out, and I'll let you know what's next. And she's like, my wife is such a godly woman. I could tell Tracy that we're moving to Africa tomorrow, and she'd be like, I'll pack the bags. And she just has always followed my lead, and she's just a great mom and takes care of our family. And so I jumped in the car. It was a 3.5 hour drive to Nashville. I get there, and I it's so crazy to me, the money these people have and what they spend it on. But I walk in, and on the kitchen table is a brick of cocaine, literally a brick. I'm like, dang, that is a lot of money. A brick of cocaine. And so I sit down with this gentleman, and we start talking about the Father, where the Spirit of God shows up, and I start counseling him. And the hardest thing, it's the craziest thing I've ever is if you've ever tried to flush a brick of cocaine, it's crazy. Okay. It gets in the air and stuff, by the way, too, Devin. It's like unbelievable. I mean, it's like the craziest thing. It reminded me of when I used to preach down in the ghetto, and everybody was smoking marijuana, and it was like a big cloud. And then I got done preaching, and I had to go buy some like Cheetos because I had the munchies because I was like preaching, and I was getting hit with the contact buzz. But anyway, so we flush all of this. His life, I stay with him for 4 days, and we go through a whole spiritual retreat. kind of thing. And now he's back on track, and life is transformed. But this is what I do. This is what I do daily. And so I'm sorry, I'm just going off the cuff here, Devin, but I just believe that God, if we can put him first, if we can put him center, if we can learn more about him, it's just like, guys, check this out. So probably a lot of you pray. I would say, that's just my guess, that you probably pray. I would say most people pray when they're going through something. They don't pray when they're on the mountaintop, which we need to change. We need to be praying constantly, even on the mountaintop. But the biggest problem with prayer that people have is they don't understand that it is a direct line to God. We just think that we're just talking, and no one's listening, and you are actually talking to God. If you are a child of God, which all of you are, you are talking to the Father. And so what happens is we'll like, God, thank you for this, and I need help with this, and my body hurts, I need healing, and on and on and on, and then we say amen, and then we just go throughout our day. Can I tell you guys something? God is up there, and he's like, are you kidding me? Like, you're praying to me, and you're not even going to stop and listen now? Can I talk? Can I have a turn? And so the biggest problem with prayer is we don't listen. And so we're very good at talking, all of us. We love to talk. We love to tell people, what we do and how we do it, but we don't listen well. And so what I've learned is with this relationship with God, is that when you pray, stop at the end and just start listening. Start listening. Let him start downloading this stuff and speaking into your life and speaking into your spirit. And so, a lot of my clients that have never prayed before, or only prayed when it's a crazy time in their life, I just have said, listen, pray for 5 minutes, listen for 5 minutes, and try to stop all the outside noise. I think that's the hardest thing that we deal with, is we all have this craziness and this junk and these problems going on in our lives, and we have to stop. We have to literally stop it, and push it out and say, God, I'm talking to you, and I'm listening to you. And I think that when we get to that place, you're going to start seeing God downloading and speaking to you. And so I mean, that's what I do, and it's constantly worked for me. And God will. The great thing about the Father is that we're not all the same. Like, he will talk to people differently. I tell people all the time, they're like, well, how do you hear God? How do you like how do you sense it? How do you feel it? How do you know? Well, first, I'm very specific with God. And so I pray, and way back when, I say, God, now, I wouldn't recommend you guys do this if you're not ready for this, but I actually prayed to God. I said, God, if it's a no, I want you to make me feel sick to my stomach. If it's a yes, I want you to just pour your spirit on me, where I know without a doubt it's a yes. And it's this feeling of like chills, and you can just feel it. It's just like you're on fire. And so now when I pray for something. If it is a no, man, it is like I feel like I'm gonna vomit. Now, a lot of people don't like that feeling. I like that feeling because I want to know. I don't want to do so. And so I've turned down $1 million deals. I've walked away from business deals. That the fleshy world, the people would say, are you crazy? But I've walked away from it because it was a no. And I've walked into stuff that was a yes, that has changed my life and 10x. And so, I have a buddy that actually prayed that he would puke every time that it was a no. That's how he does. But I would say, be careful what you pray for. It's just like when you pray, God, humble me. I'm just letting you know that's a pretty bold prayer, okay? Because he will humble you, okay? And so you be careful what you pray for. Be careful what you speak about. But the one thing is like you have to realize that it's like a phone call. It's like when I call Devin, I talk, he listens, he talks, I listen. It's the same thing with God. And the Father, I really want to put this out here to you guys is we struggle with, I would say, religion. We struggle with God, a lot of us, because of our parents and our grandparents, and we were raised, a lot of us were raised in the church, and it was all about religion. And we looked at God, because I did, trust me. We looked at God as a dictator, a God that had his ruler in his hand, and if we screwed up, he was going to smack us with the ruler, and if we really screwed up, we were going straight to hell. And this is how I was raised. It was horrible. And so I looked at God as this dictator that I didn't want anything to do with. And a lot of the people that I coach and serve, they feel the same way. They didn't want anything to do with it. But can I tell you guys something? This that's not God. We serve a loving father, a dad that loves us so much. Do you know what he wants? He just wants a relationship with us. He literally wants a relationship with us. That's it. And the thing is building an intimacy with him is just like building an intimacy with your significant other. And so when I look at my wife, Tracy, married to for 18 years now, I I strive, I pursue her. I want to make her happy. I want to please her. I want to listen to her. I want, I pursue, it's an intimacy. Well, the thing is the same thing with the father. The father wants the same thing. He's pursuing us, but he wants us to pursue him. And when we pursue him, man, stuff just starts shifting. Stuff just starts changing. I was telling Devin on our IG live, you know, a lot of people are really freaked out when they open the Bible because it's just so hard to understand, and that's why I would tell people to go get the NIV Bible or the Amplified Bible, because you can just it's just a lot easier to understand. But but I want to tell you guys something about this, the Bible. If when you open up the Bible from start to finish, it literally is a diagnosis and a medication. That's the whole Bible from start to finish. Yes, it's a love story. It actually is a love story to us, but it's a diagnosis and a prescription, a medication. And so if you come and you say, well, I have anxiety, or I have fear, or I'm having marital issues, or I'm having problems with the kids, I have addiction problems, you fill in the blank, dot, dot, dot. It doesn't matter what it is, what you're dealing with. God says, oh, you have this? Well, here's the diagnosis and here's the prescription. And so, for an example, I have anxiety. I am struggling with anxiety, and heaven knows I have dealt with it. Okay. I mean, dealt with it, especially after all my surgeries and all my issues and being on antibiotics for 3 flipping months. It just killed my gut, and I had horrible anxiety. I went from speaking on stages with 30,000 people, not having a bit of anxiety, to standing in front of 10 people and having panic attacks just because I was on antibiotics for 3 months. And so I was like, man, what's going on with me here? And so I get into the word and I say, God, I have anxiety. I have panic. And God says, oh, you do? How about this? Let your moderation be known unto all men. The Lord is at hand. Be careful, be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God. And the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Finally, brethren, whatever so things are true, whatever so things are honest, whatever so things are just, whatever so things are pure, whatever so things are lovely, whatever so things are of good report, if there be any virtue and if there be any praise, think on these things. Diagnosis, prescription. And I said, wow. So that's how I'm supposed to fix my anxiety. That's how I'm supposed to fix my panic attacks. It goes through the whole Bible just like this: diagnosis, prescription. And so that's what's so powerful about the word. How about you guys are entrepreneurs, you're business guys, you're business women, you guys are, taking it to the next level. You want to elevate, you want to grow, you want to expand. Well, guess what? You have three books in the Bible that are written by King Solomon. King Solomon is literally the wisest and richest person that has ever lived, that will ever live, right in the Bible. Three books. Did you know in those three books is the King Solomon business plan? The King Solomon business plan. There is not one person that I have ever met that has followed the King Solomon business plan that's not a multimillionaire. Period. Nobody. Because you're talking about a guy that literally his dad, King David, dies. Solomon takes the throne. God comes to Solomon and is like, what do you want? I'll give it to you. And now, little side note, because a lot of people don't know this, King Solomon's a freaking teenager. A teenager. A lot of people think that this guy was like 60 years old. No, he's a teenager, and this is what he asked for. I want wisdom and understanding, God. What? Are you freaking kidding me? This dude didn't ask for the ladies. He didn't ask for the fame. He didn't ask for the money. He said, I want wisdom and understanding. And God said, boy, you just asked for the right thing, and I'm going to give you everything. Because how many of you know if you have wisdom and understanding, you'll have wealth, you'll have good luck, you'll have it all. Wisdom and understanding is the most powerful thing. And so God gives it to him. I mean, he's got he's got all the queens and kings coming from all over the world to this teenager to sit at his feet. He built a he built a temple that in today's money would cost trillions of dollars. His own palace where he lived was even more expensive than that. That's how loaded this guy was. And so he wrote three books of the Bible that are literally the King Solomon business plan. And he teaches you literally what to invest in, how to think, what to do, what not to invest in, on and on and on and on. And if you follow it, you'll be a multimillionaire. There's so much wisdom in it. And so I'm just trying to give you, like, there's so much power in this book. Like, I love reading. I have a full library in my office, and these self-help books are great, but the best self-help book is the Bible. Everything's in it. It'll teach you everything and show you everything and guide you and direct you. And so I would say the first part of just building this intimacy with the Father is prayer and worship and devotion and getting into the Word, learning the promises of God. I mean, how many of you guys know that I hope you know this. If not, then this is a teaching lesson right now, is that what you speak will manifest over your life. Now, this isn't some like Care Bears and unicorns and rainbows and all this. No, it's a freaking fact. This is Bible. Okay. So the Bible says that as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. As Devin thinketh in his heart, so is he. Okay. So the Bible says that your tongue has the power of life and death. Your tongue has the power of life and death. I have a client probably 3 years ago. She calls me and she's like, this was our calls. Brian, I'm gonna be sick. I'm gonna get COVID. I'm gonna have the flu. I'm gonna get in a car wreck. Business sucks. Oh, guess what? Her life freaking sucked. She was always sick. Her business was always jacked up. She was always getting into issues because she spoke it over her life, because your tongue has the power of life and death. And so people laugh at me and they're like, I can't believe you do this every morning and you get up. The first thing I do is I look in the mirror in my bathroom and I say, I am blessed. I am highly favored. I am healed. I am delivered. I am saved. I am loved. I am worthy. I am the grace of God, the mercy of God, the peace of God. I am loved, worthy. I'm royalty. I am a king's kid, and I speak it over my life. I'm going to be blessed today financially. I speak it. My kids are going to be safe. They're going to be healthy. I speak these affirmations over my life because I know the power of manifestation. You can manifest it. You can manifest it, and you need to start speaking it over your life. When hardships come, get behind me, Satan, because God's gonna bless me today. That's just how I roll. You're never gonna hear negativity come out of my mouth because I know the power of it. I know the power of negativity. That's what the devil wants you to think. He's going to make you think of what could have, could be, your business, what's gonna you're gonna fail, you're not smart enough, you're not good enough, you're gonna be thinking about other people that are doing better and on, and he's gonna constantly speaking, "Get behind me, Satan. I am blessed and highly favored, and God is gonna bless me so high. I'm telling you, I'm gonna be the next Tony freaking Robbins. Okay, you watch." And I speak it out into it and it starts manifesting. And this is the one thing you have to start doing over your life. Quit speaking negativity. Quit teaching your kids. Do not let your kids speak negativity over your house, over your family, your wife, your husband. Speak positive. Do it daily, constantly. And when those thoughts come in, start speaking life. Life, life, life. And I promise you, it will manifest. My granny, when I was snorting cocaine all those years, and I was living this hellish life. My granny, that's 90 today, and she's still living. She's one of my part-time nannies now. I love it. And she always told me, she said, "Boy, I've been praying for you and speaking life over you ever since you were born." She goes, "I knew you were snorting coke and living that hellish life." She goes, "But in my prayer closet, I was speaking life over you, life over you, life over you. Now look at you. You've manifested everything that I've spoke over you." And it's constant. And so number one is just start speaking life. Start speaking life. Sorry, Devin, you got questions, man? I'm just rambling, bro. I'm just rolling here.
No, man, this is and the whole time you're talking about this, and we have a group. It's called the Deep Roots within the Harvest, and the reason why it's called the Deep Roots is a lot of the problems that you think you have in your business or in your life, in your relationships. Well, the reality is all that stuff is the way it is because you're not getting to the root of the issue, right? And man, my salespeople aren't being productive. Man, why am I, why is everybody not riding for my business? Why is my marketing not through the roof, right? And a lot of times, man, it goes down to like, well, maybe you're not running effective meetings. Well, maybe you're not running effective sales meetings because you have no confidence. Well, maybe you don't have then it gets deeper, right? Well, then, Devin, why do I not have any confidence? Then it gets deeper. Well, guess what? Maybe I'm not doing my affirmations. Maybe I don't believe in myself. So do you guys see how like low in sales, low in influence within your company? Why are my people not writing for me? Well, it's not really a fucking, excuse my language, but it's not really a business problem. Like a lot of times, like the root of it is you. It's the internal work that we're talking about right here. It's the anxiety. It's not having a faith in something that pulls you up and gives you the confidence to step into who you're truly supposed to be. Right? So everything that he's talking about, my health and fitness, my business, all these, my relationships, right? It's got to be this. It's because of work, or it's all these other excuses on why. And a lot of times, man, like when we get to the root of it, it's all within this conversation that we're having now. If we can get this straight, our main frame straight, well, then guess what? Then we have way better commerce. Then, by the way, our marketing's way better because we have more confidence and we want to learn more to make our marketing better. Right? You ever see somebody trying to put out a video on Facebook or whatever and you just know that there is no confidence behind it? Like, it's like somebody forced, like, it looks forced, they don't look confident in their product, they don't look passionate, you name it. And the reality, marketing doesn't work. It's like, well, you got to get back down, you got to change the mainframe, right? And every time you're talking about this, Pastor Brian, it's just funny too. As when I do my walks, I'm trying to, more and more I've been thinking about like if you guys ever heard of this, the I am statement, because every morning I am trying to build literally the highest and best version of myself so I can manifest amazing things throughout the day. I can be more consistent. I can plug into God's power. I can plug it. I can like tap into that spiritual power. And I can say my affirmations, and that's the other thing Pastor Brian taught me. He's like, yo, you gotta be specific. I mean, God knows everything that you want, but there's just something about being specific. So as I do this in my morning routine, I'm trying to think of like, words that I want to repeat to myself every day. And as crazy as this sounds, right? One of the biggest takeaways I got from this out of many was one of the affirmations Pastor Brian says, I'm a king's child. I am a king's child. How worthy do you feel now to achieve everything, to be the best mother, the best father, the best business owner, the most influential person in your market, whatever it is, when you tell yourself every morning, I'm a king's child, right? That like, it's all this work, guys, that makes all the difference in the amount of sales that you do, the people you're trying to recruit, the new clients you're trying to bring on. By the way, the vendors that you're attracting to do business with, man, why am I attracting so many people who don't do what they say they're going to do, right? Why do I keep wasting tens of thousands of dollars hiring the wrong people, right? Well, maybe it's because, have you ran it through the filter that can help you kind of identify, hey, does this check out or does it not? Well, guess what? Maybe this, I'm going to pray about it now. Like, I want to start praying about this stuff. I really want to start thinking about this stuff. And next thing you know, you're making better choices, right? So, this is just great stuff. And I have, add to it.
No, I would say one thing that I wanna share with all you guys is a lot of people are going through. I would say, trust me, I've been doing this for 23 years. Like, you guys are going through stuff. It's like I don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that you're going through stuff. Like, I'm going through stuff. We all go through stuff. We all are going through valley mountain moments. And whether that's in your finances, whether it's your business, your family, your marriage, your kids, relationships, whatever it is, you're going through something. And I've told this to Devin before, and I think it's a good time to let you guys know because I think a lot of people, the Bible says that I prepare a table before you in the presence of your enemies, and your cup overfloweth. So here's the thing. If we continue to walk away and run away from the hits, the pain, God will have to take us back to that place to bless us. I mean, that's a mic drop moment for somebody here. God said, I want to bless you in front of your enemies, and your cup is going to overfloweth. So can I go a little deeper? Let me get this so you guys realize this. I've told this again to Devin. The enemy is necessary. The enemy is necessary. The attacks are necessary. What you're going through, the problems, the heartaches, the hardships, the death, the everything that you're going through is necessary. This is why. Jesus, he's getting ready to die. Okay? He knows that death is coming. He's out in the woods, and he's already done the whole washing of the feet and the last supper, and he's out in the woods, and he's literally knows that he's going to be crucified, beaten, tortured, spat upon, and die. And so he's out there, and his homeboy Peter, his right hand man, guys, his right hand man, the one who's walked with him, done ministry with him, comes up to him in the wilderness and says, Jesus, you got to go, bro. Like, we got to get out of here. The Roman guards are coming. They are going to kill you. We got to go. Jesus looks at Peter and says, get behind me, Satan. Get behind me, Satan. Check this out. Judas, the Roman guards, they all come, and the high priest, they come rolling up. They throw the gold at Judas's feet. Judas picks it up. Jesus walks up to Judas. Now you all know Judas, backstabbing. Everybody knows freaking Judas. Okay? Jesus walks up to him. The Bible says he kisses him on the cheek and calls him friend. He just told homeboy Peter that he was Satan. He calls Judas friend. Do you know why? Because Peter was trying to take Jesus out of his God-given destiny, and Judas, the enemy, was elevating Jesus into his God-given destiny to save the entire world. The enemy is necessary. When you are getting attacked, when you are going through hardships, when you are going through battles, you have to go through them. You have to go through them to grow, to learn, to elevate. But God is so much sovereign and so much smarter than the stupid old devil. He literally says that I will use everything for your good. I will prepare a table before the in the presence of your enemies, and your cup will overfloweth. I'm going to bless you through your enemy, through the attacks. The enemy is necessary to elevate you to your God-given destiny. I want you to take that with you today. Anybody that's going through something, I want you to look at it differently. God is going to use it to bless you.
Whew, I got goosebumps right now, man. Incredible stuff. Listen, guys, we are coming up to 8 o'clock now. I had a few other questions, but I don't want to go over. Before I, maybe I can fit in one, but I just want to, give it to the floor. Does anybody have any questions or anything that you want to share, or anything that you want to ask Brian or anything like that before I ask a final question? Mr. Fulgenetti in the house, my brother. What you got?
Hey, good morning, everybody. Do you have maybe a biblical study guide through Solomon for business owners that you would recommend?
Yeah, I created one. So I have one that I use, that I
Pretty
teach.
ideal.
What's that?
I said that's ideal if you created one. I'm sure you've got one to recommend.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So what I'll do is Devin, is I can send you some of my studies, some of the books that I've used, and some of the studies that I've written. I can send them all to you, and then you can just give it to everybody in the group.
Awesome. Thank you. And just one last thing too, guys, which is a pretty powerful lesson. When you think about, whatever, like maybe I always like to tell you guys, whatever it is that you're doing, right? One of the biggest cheat codes is find somebody that's doing it at the highest level and try and be within their proximity somehow. And a good, story that Pastor Brian told me that really helped me when it comes to, continuing to build higher level relationships. And sometimes it's hard, it's not easy, and there's different tactics and strategies on how to do this. But, Pastor Brian, could you share that story where you were mentoring with TD Jakes? For those that don't know, like Bishop TD Jakes is well known throughout the world. But could you share that? Because there was a lesson behind that when you were kind of sharing with me, like how to collaborate with people that I'm trying to do more business with, stuff like that. Because this is a very valuable tactic and lesson for those that are on here if you're trying to, just really level up your network and relationships, which is what I hope everybody in here is trying to do, because that's a lot what we speak about.
Yeah. So number one is, you guys need to realize, is mentorship is wisdom without the wounds. So you need to have mentors in your life, because it's wisdom without the wounds. And so, a parasite wants what's in your hand, a protege wants what's in your heart. And so, you have to find the right mentors. Yeah, Bishop T.D. Jakes is probably the biggest name in the ministry world. He's my spiritual father. You have to distinguish. My God, I don't even have time for this, but you got to distinguish who is attached to you and who is assigned to you right
This
now.
is huge. This is huge, guys. Huge.
You need to distinguish who is attached to you and who is assigned to you. So the devil will send people, God will send people, and you need to distinguish who those people are. And so attached people are people that come and go from your life. They are people that will hurt you. They're people that will try to take your business. They are people that you couldn't drive down the road to a gas station. You couldn't drive 30 minutes with them, and you got to get them out of the flipping car. Now, assigned people are God-given people. Those are the people that are going to do life with you forever. You need to literally step back from your life and say, because I already know you guys right now in your head, you're like, oh my God, I know this is an attached person. This has got to go. Because here's the thing, you have to distinguish it, because attached people are like cancer, and they will spread. And they will spread through your family, they'll spread through your organization. You have to locate them, distinguish who they are, and you got to get rid of them. You want assigned people in your life. The other thing is, and I know we got to go, so I'm going to drop this quick. When God gives you a dream, when he gives you a vision, you shelf it, and then you get a piece of paper out and you write, who are the who's. You see, here's the thing. God there, the who is what you need to accomplish the what. So God never intended you to accomplish anything by yourself. It's all about people. And so you have to get in the rooms, you got to meet the people. So when God said, Brian, you're going to be a coach, you're going to start a nonprofit, you're going to start a church. Great, love it. But then I got a piece of paper out and I said, who are my who's? Who are the people that are going to help me elevate and get me to my God-given destiny? And that's how I got accomplished. Everything that I've accomplished this far was not because of me. It was because of God sending me all the who's, and I located them, and then I accomplished all my what's. I'm done. There you go.
Incredible. All right, guys. Listen, thank you so much, Pastor Brian, for being on here, man. This was incredible wisdom. Hope you guys all felt the same. And just take one thing, right? Take one thing and start, adding it into your routine, because the big goals, everything, guys, again, is all built off of habits, rituals, and routines. It's all the small stuff daily, which is what 90% of people skip. So one of the small steps, we're getting on the call. The second small step is writing out notes. And then the third small step is, you know what, each day I'm going to do this. So I can now start implementing the wisdom that I learned, right? And then to build off of that, then you add one more thing to that. So guys, thank you so much, guys. If you haven't already, follow, I know me and Pastor Brian have a spiritual rep show on IG Live every Thursday, 9:30 to 10. So always tap into that. We give a scripture and we kind of dig into it on like how you can use it today, whether it's anxiety, whether it's abundance, whether it's overcoming fear, you name it. So follow that, follow him on Instagram. And then he has a free roundtable community where every day he's in there giving some spiritual word, which is incredible. I'm a part of it too. So I'll drop that in the community if you want to join that group too. And yeah, man, just share the call, guys. Share if you are implementing any of this stuff. Share it in the community. Let us know you're taking action. Let us know how it's helping you. And then maybe grab an accountability partner. Maybe, you know what, dude, like this is something that I've never tapped into in my whole life. Like, who wants to do this with me? Who wants to take these small steps with me? So thank you so much, guys. Have an amazing day, Pastor Brian. Thank you so much again, my brother. It was great. I will see you on the IG Live show this Thursday. And all my Harvest brothers and sisters, have an amazing day. Remember, have the 30th in your calendar so we can continue to get together and build those relationships and share the work that we're doing and how we can all, who are the who's you need? Ask the brothers and sisters in the Harvest. Like, yo, these are the who's I need. Who can help me? And then you do the same for others. This is how you guys expedite getting to the goals that we all have here. So have an amazing day, guys. Let me know if you need anything, and let's win the day. Pastor Brian, thank you again.